So this whole project really started out of a simple question. Could I do something more meaningful with my photography? Over the years that I've been messing around with photography, I've always felt like there was something slightly lacking in it. There's obviously some creative aspects to it and, focal length and composition, but I always felt like it didn't really say much. I was just documenting what I was seeing at the time, and while some of the photos turned out pretty nice, most of them had absolutely no meaning to anybody else but myself, because I was the one who was there, I was the one who saw it, and I was gravitating towards the scene that I was capturing. After asking this question, I wound up spending a lot of time thinking about that specific question, and it led me down kind of a rabbit trail of thought, and I actually wound up composing a new piece of music called Iterate, Reiterate, and you can find it on Spotify, but basically the song is this expression of feeling like just going around in circles, trying the same thing, getting slightly different results, but always kind of just ending up in the same place. And that's exactly how my photography was going as well. It's how YouTube is being treated, just iterating, reiterating the same ideas. And I think a lot of YouTubers are doing this, just overall. They're just kind of all trying to achieve the same thing without much thought about what we're actually doing. And that's fine for business. That's fine for, the social media crowd, but, I kind of consider myself a bit of an artist. And so I really wanted to ask more. I needed more purpose. Something deeper out of my photography. And this simple question grew into a pursuit that took a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of deep thinking, a lot of research, and took me down the rabbit trail of, looking at everything in a different way. And I didn't expect it to do so. But finding meaning in our art, isn't that the whole purpose of the art? So one of the main books that's been inspiring me lately as I'm going through this is this book right here. And this is The Courage to Be Disliked. And it was Sean Tucker who first suggested it a while back, actually, and I've been reading it, and I'm not quite finished. I'm a little over halfway there, but just already what I've read of it has been so impactful in just feeling confident to pursue things in my own way and not fall into the trap of social media. So from the title of the book, you might assume that it's giving you permission to be a dislikable person, and that's just not the case. The whole premise behind this book and why I think it's been so valuable for me personally is that it's not giving you permission to be a dislikable person. What it's doing is it's a philosophy that you approach your life not trying to fit into other people's view of you, that you're pursuing personal responsibility, personal growth, and working towards becoming the best version of yourself based off of who you want to be. And I think so often we fall into this mindset of blame shifting and trying to be popular based on what other people think, and trying to take on the personalities that we've been handed instead of looking to ourselves or looking at it ourselves and examining ourselves and asking deeper questions of who are we actually? Why is it that we do what we do? And if there were no outside influences, who would we be? And I'm not saying this to say that, I felt burnt out like so many social media people talk about. If anything, I felt energized to keep making YouTube videos and keep sharing photography content. But what I was feeling was this lack of self in it, that I was just feeding the algorithm, so to speak, just trying to make content that I thought would get lots of clicks and thought would get lots of views. And in the end, I was just making what everybody else was making. And in that way, I didn't find myself being creative. I felt myself reiterating what I had already heard. And so this question of, can I make my photography mean more, led me down this whole path that's brought us to this point right here. And I just felt obligated or encouraged to share it on this platform. Even though YouTube is all about, clickability and enticing people to watch more, I just didn't feel good about that. I don't feel good about that. And so this video is a little bit of an objection. And so let me just share what I've been working on. I've been wandering around this little area for about 2 hours now, building this sculpture out of found objects, of stones and leaves, arranging them in a very specific way, in a very specific order, so that it lays out exactly as I envision to take a single photograph of this. This right here is my first foray into creative photography, where I wanted to express something. I wanted to manipulate my scene, physically creating something and putting it together. So I had a little bakery and coffee shop around the corner. My wife, daughter, and I like to go there and get cinnamon rolls and, treats and stuff like that for us. They have a coffee table kind of with couches and stuff. One of the books that I always see there and just never took the chance to look at until recently was a kind of a coffee table photography book by Andy Goldsworthy. And as I was looking through the photographs that were taken of his sculptures, I was deeply inspired by what he was creating. It made me realize things about, different potential. Now, we spend so much time in photography just documenting the scene and focusing on authenticity. Just last video I made, we talked about how AI could be ruining some of the trust that we feel in photography, and so it's so important to be forthright and honest about what you do to manipulate your photographs. But to completely sculpt something out of the scene that you're working in and then photograph it, it was almost like a light bulb went off, and I realized that, this was a huge potential for what I was trying to express, which is this ongoing project that I keep hinting towards called Interrupted Landscapes. And the basic premise is that I find so often a black and white dichotomy between two schools of thought. Especially right now in our culture and our society, there's almost this one side that is like deeply connected to nature and wants no human interaction in it. It wants to, get rid of as many people as possible so that nature can replenish itself and go back and we stop encroaching on it. There's like that school of thought. And then there's another one that's like almost the opposite, where it's like, no, we are the apex predator. We will conquer nature. We will destroy what we have to survive. Who cares about environment? Who cares about future generations? This is our planet. Let's use it while we're here, kind of a mindset. And I might be paraphrasing, but this dichotomy, these opposites, I can't align myself with either one of them. And if you know me, you know that I am deeply inspired by nature. Even though I don't consider myself a landscape photographer, I'm always out there in nature, hiking around, exploring, trying to get more knowledge, more freedom in it. And so I have a deep passion for taking care of the planet, being a good steward of the planet. But then I also don't think that means that we can't live in it or, use it as a resource. especially if we do it responsibly. And so I feel like the thing that I so strongly want to express with my photography is this balance that we can strike, or this balance that can be struck with nature, that yes, we can be part of the natural world. We can use it as a resource and use it to better our lives, but in the way of approaching it with responsibility, with care, with thoughtfulness towards the future. And I think that there are a lot of people who are just like me in this, that feel the same exact way. There's this idea that you can't be that if you're going to be environmentally conscious, that you have to go all the way, that you have to be almost like, anti-human, that you have to push against, any encroachment into nature, that like national parks should be like off limits and closed to people, that, we can't. It's too important not to leave it alone. And I don't really feel that way. I think that there's a way to explore the world that we live in and find, balance there. And that's what I'm hoping my photographs capture. So on this day, when I was feeling like it was time to make steps towards creating something, what I did is I found a space, a space that's local to me, a place that I've been to many times, a place that I have a connection to. And I just wandered around, and I was searching for specific pieces that I could put together into a balanced, symmetrical sculpture that would become a part of a photograph. So the whole point of this sculpture was not that it was a sculpture that could be, seen and appreciated, but it was to take a picture of it and use as a 3-part triptych, one being this sculpture in the center that I created using parts of nature to show that, like, we can interact, we can find balance, we can work together. And then on the other hand, only nature and the rugged beauty that it has. And then on the far side, a man-made structure, only man-made. And as I put it together and looked at the 3 parts, I realized that this was exactly what I was hoping my photography would do, that it would create more meaning, that it would have something to say, something deeper than just, I was here, I saw this cool thing, I took a picture, and now you can see it on social media. That just feels so empty to me. And so while not every single video I create from now on is going to be this type of video, these are the types of pieces that I will be working on, this project that I'll be working on moving forward. It will be compiled into some kind of book, or maybe a short documentary, or something that really discusses this topic. And I want to bring awareness to this. So if it's something that you're interested in, if it's something that you also feel connected to, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know that there are others out there who feel the same way that I do. And maybe this piece of art actually spoke to you. That would be amazing if it did. I know it, I don't know, it speaks to me. But yeah, in the comments, just let me know. The bottom line, and what I realized, is I want my art to have meaning. Just like every time I write a piece of music, I want my composition to have deeper meaning than just music for the sake of music. I was feeling a separation from my photography because it was just photography for the sake of photography. I was taking a picture for the sake of the picture instead of like asking the question of why I needed to take that picture. And it was starting to become not enough for me to just see a cool scene and photograph it, or, take my cameras out there and make a video of myself taking pictures of cool scenes. I wanted more out of my art, and that's what this video is about. Now, this is not going to be for everybody. I freely admit that. This concept, this idea, this philosophy, whatever you want to call it, this project is not going to be for everybody. I'm not trying to belittle anybody's opinions of photography and art. That is not my intention here. Everybody pursues their own art, and that's how it should be. I just wanted more out of myself, and that's what this is about. Other project that I'm working on is actually, so I've been doing a lot of work with Polaroid lately, and I've got a small album of maybe 20, 30 photos of halfway decent shots that I've taken over the time that I've owned the Polaroid i2. And the unfortunate truth is I have an entire box filled with bad shots that didn't turn out well, that didn't expose properly. So right now I'm working on a Polaroid survival guide, or a how to succeed with Polaroid type guide. And I've put a lot of time into this, and I'm not quite finished yet. But the whole concept behind this is I think I figured out this camera for myself, and how to best use it and how to succeed with it in combination with Polaroid film itself. And it's exciting because one of the more recent packs of that I put through this camera, all 8 of them turned out exactly like I was hoping, and that's never happened for me personally. So using this technique, I've gotten success out of this camera, and I've been reading a lot of reviews on this, and there's a lot of negative feedback. But I think that this specific camera is a great artistic tool that can be used and can be functional if we know how to use it. So expect to have an announcement about that in the near future as well. But really, that's the whole point of this video, is just to let you know that this is this project that I'm working on that I wanted to share with you, and then this future project that I'll be putting out there for helping the community succeed better with Polaroid, which is such a fun camera to be using. Let me know if you have any thoughts or any questions in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. It's been a little while, and I apologize for that, but I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things. Work lately has also been taking a lot of my time, and I've been a little under the weather, so it just feels like everything's kind of caved in at once. But hopefully things are on the upturn, and as spring gets closer, I'll be able to get out more and take more pictures and create more meaningful art. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.